Hello and welcome to episode 14, season 5, Brief History of Nothing. I'm the staggeringly handsome Ray.
And I'm the less delusional James.
Okay, on this day, in 1413, Henry V was coronated. In 1959, NASA selected its first 7 astronauts for the Mercury project. How to sit on top of an intercontinental ballistic missile.
Yes.
In
we'll do this better, and we'll do the Saturn project and the Apollo missions.
In 1967, the Boeing 737 made its maiden flight,
yes.
In 2003, Baghdad falls to the Americans, ending Saddam Hussein's rule. In 2005, Prince Charles marries Camilla Parker Bowles in the Windsor Guildhall. Okay, today we're going to take excerpts from poetry and a song and put it through Google Translate into various languages and then bring it back. For example, the first couple of lines of Rock Around the Clock are 1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock rock, 5, 6, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock rock. So when you put that through Google Translator from English to German to Bosnian to Chinese and then back to English, it comes out as 11, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 UHR rock 2000 hours.
Yep, that makes perfect sense.
Yes, try and sing that to the tune.
No.
Okay, so what else have we got?
Well, I've got a couple of Australian classic literature, classic Australian literature. Yes. You know the stuff you gets jammed down your neck at school and bores you to death?
Yes.
Yeah, that stuff. Yeah. Well, I thought,
if you're in Australia, it does.
If you're in Australia, it gets rammed down your neck. So I thought, I want to make it more interesting.
Yes.
And put it through several layers of Google Translate. For example, Man from Snowy River. I think most of us have heard it.
There was movement at the station because the word had passed around the colt from Old Regret.
Yes.
Can
you remember any more of it?
Joined the wild bush horses. All the cracks had gathered to the fray.
Yes. Well, here's the Google translated version. There was movement at the station because the word is passed around.
Oh, it is passed around.
Rejected. Former colt ran. He joined wild horses bush. Was 1,000 pounds. So cracks gathered in battle. Okay. All riders tried observed nearby stations and remote. There was a lot home overnight. Love hard bushmen, horsemen were wild horses bush, and stock whores. Tens fighting pleasure.
There's stock whores, yeah.
Yeah, that's one. When Pardon won the cup was Harrison made his pile. Ouch. The off-white eyes, like the old man. But when the blood went significantly more people are riding on this side, it was few. He will go to any place that the horse who can go. And Clancy Overflow came down to lend a hand. Better driver ever had the reins. When the seat around the stand, because the saddle is that it does not leave. My brain is struggling, it's so jumbled, my brain is trying to just... He learned to ride while working planes.
Yes. Clancy of the Overflow is a significant character in a lot of A.B. Patterson's poems.
Yes. And we go from one boring poet to another slightly more boring poet.
Yes.
Henry Lawson, who, unlike Banjo Patterson, was like, yeah, okay, some trees.
He wrote mostly prose, whereas Banjo Patterson wrote virtually all poetry.
Yeah, well, Banjo Patterson was actually the name of his horse.
Banjo.
Yes. So he wrote down Banjo. Anyway.
Yes. So. Yes, A.B. Patterson.
A.B. Patterson. Anyway, so this is an excerpt from The Loaded Dog, quite a famous short story by
Henry Lawson.
Henry Lawson. Here we go. It has a cartridge about 3 times the size they used in stone. Jim Bentley said it was big enough to blow up the bottom of the river. Leather interior, stout chintz.
Chintz, yes.
Chintz, okay. Andy tight security ended 6 feet and a piece of powder and tied it to a mouthful of a bag tightly to her with a rope lash. My brain is struggling. This is how jumbled it is. The idea is to draw the cartridge into the water for safety, and open end attached to the float on the surface, ready for lighting. Andy is immersed in a liquid cartridge and beeswax to make it waterproof. Okay.
So, is Andy waterproof with his beeswax?
Probably. Is he liquid? I don't know. We need to leave some time before we found it, Dave said. Give the fish time to get scared when we put it in. And came around to poke again, then we want to pass the water well.
Okay.
Because you don't want to pass the water badly.
No.
No.
I was going to ask whether it was a well or well.
Yes. Round cartridges Andy, a band related to Dave's suggestion Lewand. Okay. The ship being used to make water bladders to increase the strength of the blast. And both sides of the fireworks, hard brown paper program type layer, we had so-called gun cracker. Okay. He is paper dryer. Under the sun, he again linked the beginning of the end to the thick canvas cover and the end of the fishing line complex lets. Okay.
Yes.
Dave Project is working on his invention, often without. The cartridge became faster for bombs. It was tough and strong enough, but I sure wanted Andy and Dave. Andy once again soaked in beef tallow rendered animal fat, looking back to it. Soaked in a wire fence around twisted length cartridge. Sewn another layer of the canvas. She wanted to know where tent peg. Standing on the above note, wound loose the fuse around her. Then campfire Billy boiled, tried some potatoes on the jacket, and then went to see some frying pan for dinner. Dave and Jim also claim to work in the morning.
Now, this is the excerpt from the Henry Lawson story, The Loaded Dog. This is what it should have sounded like.
Yes. He made a cartridge about 3 times the size of those they used in the Rock. Jim Bentley said it was big enough to blow out the bottom of the river. The inner skin was of stout calico. Andy struck the end of a 6-foot piece of fuse as well down in the powder and bound the mouth of the bag firmly with the whipcord. The idea was to sink the cartridge in the water and with the open end of the fuse attached to a float on the surface, ready for lighting. Andy dipped the cartridge in melted beeswax to make it watertight. We'll have to leave it some time before we light it, said Dave, to give the fish some time to get over their scare when we put it in, and then come nosing around again. So we want it well watertight. Round the cartridge, Andy, at Dave's suggestion, bound a strip of sail canvas that they used for making water bags to increase the force of the explosion. And round that he pasted layers of stiff brown paper on the plan of the sort of fireworks we call gun crackers. He let the paper dry in the sun. See, it's so there. Yeah. It was so muddled before. And then he sewed a covering of 2 thicknesses of canvas over it, and bound the thing from end to end with stout fishing line. Dave's schemes were elaborate, and he often worked his inventions out to nothing. The cartridge was rigid and solid enough now, a formidable bomb, that Andy and Dave wanted to be sure. Andy sewed on another layer of canvas, dipped the cartridge in melted tallow, twisted a length of fencing wire around it as an afterthought, dipped it in tallow again, stood it carefully against the tent peg where he'd know he'd find it, and wound the fuse loosely around it. Then he went to the campfire to try some potatoes which were boiling in their jackets in a billy, and to see about frying some chops and for dinner. Dave and Jim were at work in the claim that morning. That's how jumbled up it was.
Yes. You failed reading class.
I failed reading class. It was so jumbled.
Yes.
My brain was still confused.
Right. Celebrity birthdays on this day.
Yes.
Young fella named Hugh Hefner. He was born on this day in 1926. Actor Dennis Quaid was born on this day in 1954. Cynthia Nixon, the redhead from Sex and the City, she was born on this day in 1966. In 1967, Sam Harris. He's an author and
A philosopher and neuroscientist with the University of California, Los Angeles.
And in 1990, Kristen Stewart, best known for playing Bella in Twilight, was born.
Anyway.
Okay, that's us. If you like us, hit like. If you don't like us, inflict us on your friends.
The ending is also through Google Translate.
Yes.
See, I told you English is hard.
We'll see you on the dark side. He has cookies.
So does he. Bye.